Be ready.
Alright, so I am at Pocono in test session mode driving a Cup car. Here I had a subscriber to the channel ask for a Cup setup for Pocono. Actually, I think he said Pocono setup. I'm assuming he means Cup. So, here we go. This setup is capable of a 53.3. I will tell you, I don't always hit my mark, so if I can get to a 53.4, I will feel pretty happy about it. I looked at what I did in Heat 4, and in Heat 4 I put up a 53.5, and that was a pretty decent lap. With the better tire wear in Heat 5, you can be a little more aggressive on some of your settings, and with that being more aggressive on some of the settings, that translates into a little faster lap time. So I am hoping to put up a 53.4. Got off turn 3 good. So I get off turn 3 good, I'm doing about 180 at the line. So I am happy with getting off of turn 3 like that. A little bit high through the middle part of 1, but not terrible. Might salvage a decent lap out of this. That was a little close in turn 2. I think it's going to be decent but not great. Yeah, 53.6. That's decent but not great. Let's see if we can get it down to a 53.4. If I can't do it here in a lap or two, I will not make you continue to sit here and watch this. I will restart it. I will make you sit here and make you watch me do 10 laps around here trying to get one decent one. Now I hit 53.6. I can crank out to 53.6s.
Better lap.
53.453. Not my best, but I said I wanted to hit 53.4s. At least I did. So let's talk about Pocono here. Point 1 at Pocono. Coming into turn 1. This mark right here, that green traffic light, just as I am approaching it, is usually when I am getting off the gas. If I use any brake at all, it is very, very, very slight brake. More than anything, I'm turning the wheel and trying to get the car to come down to the bottom of the racetrack. When I am ready to accelerate, and not before then, I downshift. The gearing is very different in Heat 5, so I don't know that the downshift is required, but I certainly don't think it hurts, and I set up the gearing between gears 3 and 4 to set you up for a downshift. In Heat 4, I was losing a ton of time coming off of turn 1, so what I did was I set it up to shift, and I noticed that made a tremendous difference in my lap times. and even when I was racing against the AI, I could see him pulling away from me in the straightaway between 1 and 2, and when I started changing the gearing and downshifting, I was actually starting to pull away from them. So that made a tremendous difference, and I've just stuck with that philosophy that I am downshifting in 1. It gives me more drive off the corner. Let's get down here. I think they call this the Long Pond straightaway. Let's get into the Long Pond straightaway and talk about turn 2. So turn 2, you can be slightly more aggressive than in Heat 4. It used to be that I said right here was your point when you got to this black road sign that you backed off the throttle. I don't quite back off here. I turn the car here to try to start coming off the wall, but it is somewhere between those. I should back up and show this. There are cones as you're entering the corners. It goes from 3 cones to 2 cones to 1 cone. So I am beside the 2 cone. Right between, I think, the 2 and the 1 is when I am off the throttle. The other key to turn 2 is there is grip on the apron. You can come down here and not spin out, probably because turn 2 is so flat to begin with. But I am at least to the point that I have 2 wheels down here below the yellow line. A lot of times I am down here with both, all 4 wheels below the yellow line. If I hit it right, I only slow down to about 164 or 65 miles an hour coming through turn 2. So those are big tips, I think, with turns 1 and 2 is the downshifting in 1, and then when you're going down on the apron in 2. So let's go up here to turn 3. And turn 3 is the one that I am least confident in as far as what line to take. But I'll tell you kind of what I'm looking at. This traffic light here, this green light, when I get to this, I am starting to lift off the throttle, and I'm usually kind of easily rolling out of it, okay? And I'm trying to get the car down to the bottom. I'll also say I have found out that I can do better if I really try to turn the wheel more and get the car pointed the right direction while I am off the throttle, and by the time the car settles and I'm getting back in the throttle, I want to kind of basically have the car pointed the right direction. But you just start letting off and turning into the corner at that green light. When the car settles, you're hard back on the gas, and just drive it down to the start-finish line, letting it get out to the outside wall. It seems like when I have really got off of turn 3 well, I'm at pretty much 180 at the start-finish line. So I might be 179 or 181, but it's basically 180. If I haven't got off that well, then I am usually somewhere, 172 to 175, and that really does make a big difference in the lap time because it's such a long straightaway that getting off turn 3 is a big key. So with that being said, let's go to the garage and let's talk about this setup. So I was all over the place on the bump and rebound settings here, basically just trying to get the car to turn the way I liked it to. What you find is the bump and rebound settings are good for getting the car to behave in a specific section of the corner, be it entry, middle, or exit. And when you're trying to get the car set up to go around 3 different turns, it's really useful to know how to use these bump and rebound settings to help the car and say, well, I'm tight in the middle, or I'm loose on exit, or I'm whatever, as opposed to making an adjustment that affects how the car turns throughout the whole corner. And I do have separate videos on adjustments for tight and loose conditions, which breaks down each one of these bump and rebounds and how they impact the car and what part of the corner they impact it in. But moving on, the front weight and wedge are pretty close to what I normally run, somewhere around 49.5, and I usually have those pretty close together. One reason I run a much lower front weight than a lot of people you'll see run 51% front weight is, one, I think it saves the front tires. Two, I think it makes the car easier to adjust. If I've got a lighter front end, it seems like I can make a smaller adjustment in terms of air pressure or spring rate and change the handling characteristics, as opposed to if I have a heavier front end, I got to take a bigger swing at it and move the tire pressures or spring rates in bigger increments. The left front spring and left rear spring are a little lower than I normally run, but again, that's to help the car get around here the way I like it. The tire pressures are pretty close to the defaults. I think I'm a little more aggressive on the camber than what the default settings were, but with the tire wear the way it is in Heat 5, you can be more aggressive in the camber settings. The track bars, I am pretty low on the track bars. I notice I see a lot of people running right track bar that's 13 or 14. I like the lower track bar. I think it makes the car more stable. I also use that right track bar if you are hitting the throttle and the car is getting loose on you. My go-to adjustment to solve that problem is track bar. If it is loose, I am lower in that track bar, and I think the track bar really helps. And there's different kinds of loose conditions, but if it's loose when you're hitting the accelerator, the track bar is what I usually go to try to solve that problem. Other than that, not a lot to say. The 3.4 gear ratio, holy cow, I cannot believe I am running a gear ratio that low at a 2.5 mile track, but that's what seemed to give me the best lap times. That's what helped me get the drive off the corner, and I can tell you Pocono is all about corner exit. The straightaways are so long that it's all about corner exit. You need to be able to get back in the throttle early, and you need to have drive off the corner, and part of getting drive off the corner is that 3.4 gear. I also have a third gear that is not too far off from fourth gear. That is because I am shifting coming out of turn 1. So that is the setup. I hope it is helpful to you guys. I hope you like it. Leave me any questions in the comments. If there are other tracks you want to see a setup for, let me know, and I will I'll try to throw up a video for it. Do me a huge favor and like and subscribe to the channel. It means a great deal to me when I can see one of my videos starts getting some likes, or when my subscriber base grows. And one more thing, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Your support means a great deal to me, and thank you for watching, and hope everybody